Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. And oops, hold on. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead Narayana, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashtapreshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militamena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Okay, so today we're reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 18, Text 11, I believe. Yeah. So just to get context, Sutta Goswami brought up how, as he says here in verse 1, how Maharaj Parikshit, though struck by the weapon of the son of Drona in his mother's womb, could not be burned. And Prabhupada explains that he wants to pique their interest in hearing about this story. And so he goes on to talk about some things about Maharaj Parikshit, and then he says that as you did ask me, now I have described almost everything regarding the narrations. He said almost everything regarding the narrations about Lord Krishna in connection with the history of the pious Maharaj Parikshit. Those who are desirous of achieving complete perfection in life must submissively hear all topics that are connected with the transcendental activities and qualities of the personality of Godhead who acts wonderfully. And so today we're on verse 11. Oh, okay, so it's Control P? Is that how you? Oh, that didn't do it.
Hey, Windows P.
Oh yeah, Windows P. All right, hold on. How do I go back? Windows P. Oh, there it is. Duplicate. Okay, it's working. Okay. Rishaya Uchu Sutajiva Samasomya Sutajiva Samasomya Shashvatir Vishadam Yasha Shashvatir Vishadam Yasha Yastvam Sang Shashi Krishnasya Yastvam Sang Shashi Krishnasya Martyanam Amritam Hina Martyanam Amritam Hina Risha Uchu Sutajiva Samasomya Shashvatir Vishadam Yasha Yastvam Sangshashi Krishnasya Riturnyam Amritam Hina. Okay, synonyms together. Rishaya Uchu, the good sages said, Sutta, O Sutta Goswami, Jiva, we wish you life for, Sama, many years, Somya, grave, Shashvati, eternal, Vishadam, particularly, Yasha, in fame, Yatvam, because you, Sangshasi, speaking nicely, Krishnasya, of Lord Sri Krishna, Martyanam, of those who die, Amritam, eternity of life. He, certainly. Na, our. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The good sages said, O grave Sutta Goswami, may you live many years and have eternal fame, for you are speaking very nicely about the activities of Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. This is just like nectar for mortal beings like us. Purport. When we hear about the transcendental qualities and activities of the personality of Godhead, we may always remember what has been spoken by the Lord himself in Bhagavad Gita 4:9. His acts, even when he acts in human society, are all transcendental, for they are all accentuated by the spiritual energy of the Lord, which is distinguished from his material energy. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, such acts are called divyam. This means that he does not act or take his birth like an ordinary living being under the custody of material energy. Nor is his body material or changeable like that of ordinary living beings. And one who understands this fact, either from the Lord or from authorized sources, is not reborn after leaving the present material body. Such an enlightened soul is admitted Such an enlightened soul is admitted into the spiritual realm of the Lord and engages in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. Therefore, the more we hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord as they are stated in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the more we can know about his transcendental nature and thus make definite progress on the path back to Godhead. So the verse one more time. The good sages said, O grave Sutta Goswami, may you live many years and have eternal fame, for you are speaking very nicely about the activities of Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead. This is just like nectar for mortal beings like us. I'm going to touch on a couple points, and then today is Ramanujacharya's appearance day. So I want to read a story. Brajabihari wrote a nice article on Back to Godhead about Ramanujacharya, so I'd like to read that story and, save some time for that. So in this verse, again, just kind of staying on point that hearing the narrations of Krishna, this is a spiritual activity. And by hearing them, we understand that Krishna and his appearance is spiritual, right? Prabhupada says that he comes by his spiritual energy, not, or as he says, which is distinguished from his material energy. And so one who understands this goes back to the spiritual world. They don't come back. They don't take birth again as a living being, or, in this world. So I guess my question I want to put out there is, there's a couple of things. One is, we can read the Bhagavatam and say, yeah, I know Krishna's God. We're good, right? We can go back to the spiritual world. We know. We know this is transcendental, but the question is, do we really know? Because we can theoretically know something, but not experientially know it. And if we don't experientially know it, we don't act on it, right? So what would be the problem? This is a question I want to put out there. What would be the problem with theoretically knowing he's God and then going back to the spiritual world? What would be the problem? Why should we not go back when we only theoretically know Krishna's God? What would happen when we got there?
If you know theoretically, and if you don't have that realization, then at the time of death, probably will not remember Krishna because we just have theoretical understanding.
Right.
From heart of heart, whichever things we are attached to, so we are not going to come back to Godhead for sure.
Right. So remembering Krishna at the time of death, that's one. Let's just say there was some technicality where you went back anyways. So what would be the problem if you went back and you only theoretically knew Krishna was God? Anybody on Zoom or Shamananda Prabhu? Yeah, you find false in Krishna. Yeah. Anyone on Zoom?
I mean, we won't have the taste of serving.
Yeah, yeah,
Or
exactly.
Odd man out.
What?
Odd man out. We'll be the odd man out.
Oh, odd man out. Odd man out. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. We'll be the, as they say, the black sheep. Um,
Right, and at that time, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Krishna, when they were here, many people know Krishna is like Supreme Personality. They theoretically knew, but nobody, um, probably Shishupal or maybe in case of Ravan also, when Lord Ram was there, everybody was telling him, his family members were
yeah.
telling him that Ram is Supreme
Papa,
Personality.
Papa.
So,
Go ahead.
And Ram wouldn't listen.
Right, right.
I was hearing a class
I was hearing a class and what I heard is this personality is like Ravan prayed to Brahma and Shiva. He did not pray to Vishnu. He knows that all the powers and everything is coming from Vishnu only. And Vishnu is a supreme personality who is giving things to Brahma and Shiva. But he knows that Brahma and Shiva will give me what I want. But Vishnu may give or may not give based on what the purity or not. So he did not pray Vishnu, but he knew that Vishnu is supreme personality because he wanted what he wanted. So that's what the selfishness will come into.
So, and I was thinking that if you were to go back, like you said, you find fault with Krishna, and the whole reason we came here is because we don't want Krishna to be the center. What distinguishes someone who realizes Krishna's God from someone who doesn't is that we think we're the center rather than Krishna. And that's the whole problem with the material world. Everyone wants to be the center, and all the centers are bumping into one another, overlapping, right? That's why there's wars, because it's like, no, I want the land and resources, not you. You can't have it. I want to have it. And if you even rightly get it, I'm going to unrightly get it. I'm going to go and grab it. I'm going to make up some excuse. And so everyone wants to be the center. They want to have all the opulences. They want to be Bhagavan, right? They want all the good looks, all the money, all the strength, even if the strength is an extension of their body in the form of like security guards, right? It's like I have the strength because I have two men next to me with guns and guns. It's like they have the muscles, they got the guns, and they know karate, and so therefore I'm strong, right? So they always are surrounded by bodyguards, certain powerful people. So that doesn't work in the spiritual world. That's not what's going on there. So it's a mentality, it's a mood, it's a bhava. That's why that verse in the Bhagavad Gita that says whatever one remembers, it's the word uses bhava. It's whatever mood that they're in, whatever state of being, whatever state of consciousness. It's not just can I say the word Krishna at the time of death? Because even a Jamila, he had to come back, right, and finish up. He uttered Krishna's name, so he didn't Narayan, so he didn't go to the Yamadutas, but he still had to kind of finish things up. Yeah, he got another chance. Yeah. So still, you have to not just utter Krishna's name, but really be ready to go to the place where Krishna's the center and everything's for him. And of course, it's not that once you get there, Krishna's the center and everyone else just gets treated like they don't matter. Krishna has an exchange of love. Krishna likes to serve the devotees also, but that pure love. See, Krishna can serve us only when we're pure devotees, because when we're pure, we understand Krishna is the center. We have this love for Krishna that allows us to have a proper exchange without the greed, the envy, the jealousy, and all those things. And then Krishna can have that loving exchange with us. I mean, in general, he still has a loving exchange, because even if he disciplines us through karma, it's still a loving exchange. We just don't understand that. We don't see it that way. We see it as I didn't get what I wanted, throw a temper tantrum. And so that's why there's no temper tantrums in the spiritual world unless they're transcendental, right? Unless it's a rasa that's being exchanged. But there's none of this like, why does that mango looked really good? Why did Krishna get it and not me? Why couldn't I have it? So that would mess up the whole mood there. So we have our own little playground. And so it's a start to theoretically know that Krishna is God. It's a start. And that brings us back full circle to this point where Prabhupada says, when we hear about the transcendental qualities and activities of the personality of Godhead, we may always remember what has been spoken by the Lord himself in the Gita, that his acts, even when he acts in human society, are all transcendental. So we have to constantly hear about the activities of Krishna. We have to chant our rounds as attentively as we can, and then Krishna begins to reveal himself, and then we really begin to understand. So theoretical knowledge of Krishna being God is only the first step. That's the faith, right? We have some faith that Krishna is God, and that starts us on those steps towards prema. So what I like also at the end of this purport, Prabhupada says, therefore, the more we hear about the transcendental activities of the Lord as they are stated in Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, the more we can know about his transcendental nature and thus make definite progress on the path back to Godhead. So Prabhupada, you can see in his verses, they're always on mission. And the mission is to go back to Godhead. So everything Prabhupada says, all of his purports are geared towards showing us how we can go back to Godhead, how we can know Krishna and reach that goal. It's not just about like, who was talking about it the other day that there's, Anandani, that there are the professional reciters of Bhagavatam, right? And of course they pick the 10th canto. And I know one time Ravindranath Prabhu said that he got stuck in one of those once. He was invited to speak somewhere and he spoke, and he said then when he said then he felt like once the recitation started, it would look really rude for him to leave. So he was stuck for like 4 hours or something. And so he said, all right, at least while I'm here, I could see like why do people come to these things, So he said that this is what's great about Prabhupada, is just giving us the direct spiritual philosophy, because he said it really sucks people in. He said they're so good at it. They have musicians and they narrate and people are crying and it's this whole thing that creates this, of course, material mood. It's not spiritual recitation, but he saw how it sucks people in and why they pay to come and hear those things, because they may be led to believe that we're having a spiritual experience, but really it's just on the mundane platform. Yeah, they want the thing quick. Yeah. Yeah, fast. We want the emotions. Yeah. Once I'm crying. It's funny because Rupa Goswami says not to cry in front of the deities, and I'm sure he knew that people fake it by crying, passing out, and stuff like that. So saying not to do it is just kind of calls out the people who make a public display of trying to cry tears of ecstasy in public. So Prabhupada always stays on target, and he's always very, very firmly, he's not interested in popular opinion. He's not interested in pandering to people, right? He's just here to tell us you're stuck in this material world because you think you're the center, and here's how you get out. And so these purports constantly remind you, here's how you get out, here's how you get out, here's how you get out, here's how you go back to Godhead, here's how you remember Krishna, just always guiding us in that way. So I really appreciate Prabhupada just cutting through all the nonsense and keeping us on target, on mission. Okay, so that's a couple of points I wanted to bring up about this purport. I want to read, what do we have? I want to read about Ramanujacharya. Okay, I'm going to read a story, but I want to read a few things Brajabihari wrote about his life. It's a really long article and we don't have time, but so for those who don't know about Ramanujacharya, Brajabihari just gives a nice summary here. He says, Ramanujacharya was a foremost teacher of the Bhakti tradition. His example and teachings have shaped the Bhakti movement in South India for over 1,000 years. He was born on April 13th, 1017, at Sri Perumbudur, 25 miles west of modern Chennai. He was named Elia Perumal by his religious parents. So he's saying before his advent, bhakti or devotion to God was seen as one of the means to salvation. Sankaracharya and his followers taught that the absolute truth known as Brahman is formless, and that bhakti is at best a ladder that can help us come close to realizing the formless, nameless Brahman. So Ramanujacharya, coming after Shankaracharya, broadened the scope of Vedic teachings. He taught that bhakti is eternal. It's not simply a means to God, it's also an end in itself, because it entails an active relationship with God. Service to God and his devotees is an integral part of bhakti. Ramanuja presented God as a person, a sentient being with whom anyone can establish a loving relationship. He also, this is another good point about Ramanuja, he also broke the rigid caste barriers of his time and embraced people from all walks of life into the bhakti fold. He thereby made relationship with God not only a tangible reality, but also accessible to all. So it's coming in the line of, later on we see Lord Chaitanya doing the same thing, right? Saying like, doesn't matter caste. He says it everywhere, and even shows in his own associates coming. Haridas Thakur writes like, it doesn't matter your caste, and none of those things matter. As long as you know the science of Krishna consciousness, you can teach it to others. You can obviously practice it, and you can teach it to others. So Ramanujacharya previously was also doing that. So then he said he comes from the Sri Sampradaya, because there's, for those who don't know, there's 4 Sampradayas, Vaishnava Sampradayas. Does anyone know in Zoom who the 4 different Sampradayas are headed by?
Madhvacharya, Ramanuja, and Gaudiya Sampradaya, and what is both? Always the last one.
That's okay. So our Sampradaya. I think there's more than one person.
Yeah. Say something. Anybody else?
I want it mute. Okay. So we have our Sampradaya, which is headed by who?
Lord Brahma.
Yeah, Lord Brahma. Then there's another Sampradaya headed by who?
The 4 Kumaras.
Yep, 4 Kumars.
And then one by Lakshmi.
Yep, that's the Sri Sampradaya, which Ramanujacharya is part of. And then there's one more.
The Shiva Sampradaya.
Yeah, exactly. Rudra Sampradaya. Yep. Okay, thank you. Okay, so he comes in the line of Sri, which is Lakshmi. So Bhakti Brajabihari says, this school maintains that the Lord himself imparted the Bhakti knowledge to his consort Lakshmi, and in the disciplic line, the legacy was passed to Ramanujacharya. So just a little background, he's talking about Ramanuja in his childhood. He says that there was a devotee named, Yamunacharya. He said that at that time, I'm just trying to summarize so we have time for the story, but at that time impersonalism was very, very prevalent. And Yamunacharya saw that as a problem. But he knew that, without going into the whole backstory, he knew that Ramanujacharya was going to be the one to spread the bhakti tradition, the personal bhakti tradition. But he was studying under a impersonal guru. Does anyone know his name? The impersonal guru he was studying under? It's, let's see, Yadava Prakasha. So Yadava Prakasha. He was teaching impersonalism. And one day, and so Yamunacharya was thinking, it's not the right time yet. I don't want to disrupt his service to his guru. There's going to be a right time where I can talk to Ramanujacharya and he can start spearheading the Bhakti tradition, but now's not the time. So some things happened between Ramanujacharya and his guru. Ramanujacharya, he really didn't like, he was a personalist. He didn't like the impersonal interpretation, but he didn't want to offend his guru. So he just tolerated it. And one day his guru compared Lord Vishnu's eyes to a monkey's buttocks. And Ramanujacharya started crying because he just felt so like, and there was like burning hot, and he was massaging his guru's feet and the tears fell on him, on his guru. And his guru asked, why are you crying? And he said, he told him that your interpretation is wrong. Your translation is wrong. Actually, there's another translation of the word. Let's see. I don't remember the word.
Kapila.
What?
Kapil.
Yeah, yes. Sorry, I couldn't hear that well. Oh yeah, kapi. Yeah. Kapyasam. Kapyasam. So he said that the word. So the guru got really mad when Ramanujacharya told him, "You're wrong." You know, he tried to say it humbly, but he said that's not the right interpretation. He said, "Oh, you have a better." You know, it was one of those like, "You got a better one." So he said, "Yeah." And as a matter of fact, he said, "Kashyapam." The word kapyasam also means that which grows in water. Kapi can mean that which swallows darkness, and asam can mean blossom. So what does the sun which swallows darkness cause to blossom? That's a beautiful lotus that abundantly grows in lakes. Therefore, to say that the Lord's eyes are like kapashyam means that they're like beautiful petals of a lotus. So what happened was the guru's ego was very much hurt, and he plotted to kill Ramanujacharya. And so the way he plotted, it's so interesting how he used parikrama to kill his disciple. He planned a pilgrimage. And so he thought, what he was thinking was, I'll kill him, and at the end of the pilgrimage is the Ganga. I'll just purify myself in the Ganga. That was his plan. He doesn't know about the 10 offenses. Commit sinful activities on the strength of, he's on the strength of bathing in the Ganga. So what happened was, I guess a few of Yadava Prakash's students knew of this, and then Ramanuja's cousin Govinda learned about it, and he told Ramanuja. So Ramanuja, when everyone was sleeping one night, he went into the woods. And when he got deep into the forest, he realized he was lost and he'll probably get killed by the animals in the forest. But at that point, and I'll read, let's see, we have 2 minutes. He saw a hunter showed up, a hunter and his wife, dressed in deerskin, and said they were very effulgent. And they asked him, are you lost? And he said, yes. So they helped him find his way back. And Ramanuja recognized who they were, that it was actually Vishnu and his consort Lakshmi. And they helped him to get back to home, not Godhead at that point, but back home like his house. And what Govinda, his cousin, told, because the devotees woke up the next morning and they saw Ramanuja was gone. And the guru was angry because how could he kill him if he's gone? So Govinda told him, oh, he fell in the river and drowned. He said something like that. He said, let me see. Yeah, he said he fell in the river and drowned. And then later when they all came back from pilgrimage, so the guru was very happy. He saw that Ramanuja was dead. He's like, good, I didn't have to kill him, so I don't get the sin, but he's dead anyways. That's the way he was thinking. But then he discovered when they got back to Kanchipuram, he discovered that actually he was alive. And he was very angry. And Ramanuja said, oh yeah, I fell in the river, but someone saved me. So he kind of kept his cousin's story going. He said, someone saved me. And then at one point, the king came and said that I'm going to just read this part. The daughter of the king fell seriously sick. She was haunted by a ghost, and her fits and pain caused great anguish to her parents. After trying all conventional methods, they called for the respected guru Yadava Prakasha to exorcise the ghost. As soon as the ghost saw him, he screamed that he would never leave the princess's body, and Yadava Prakasha wouldn't be able to try any of his powers because he lacked spiritual potency. The ghost within the body of the girl declared loudly for everyone to hear that he'd leave the body only if he got the water that had washed the feet of the saintly Ramanuja. While Yadava Prakasha was shocked, the king excitedly sent for Ramanuja, who humbly did what was asked of him. The ghost vanished. The news spread far and wide. Ramanuja's devotional stature was now confirmed. Yadava Prakasha, however, felt humiliated. And then, of course, their relationship became more strained. Sorry, I'm trying to talk about restraint. I'm trying to stay within the restraints of the time limit we have here. But just that portion of the story. This is an article that Brajabihari wrote in Back to Godhead. You can find it and read the rest of the story. But just to see that, Krishna is always watching everything we do. And, his guru, who was an impersonalist, was trying so hard to cheat the system, right? He was thinking, instead of just saying, okay, he's got his opinion about, what's spirituality is, and I have my own, and he's offended. He could have even just rejected his disciple, but instead he tried to kill him because of false ego, right? He tried to take him out because he was humiliated. And Krishna protected Ramanujacharya. You know what they say, if Krishna wants to kill you, no one can save you. And if Krishna wants to save you, no one can kill you. And so due to his devotion to Krishna, Ramanuja was always protected. And though he himself did not try to get fame for his devotion, which would have meant he wasn't very devotional, Krishna gave him fame, right? He brought him into a situation where everybody could see what his devotion was, and they could see that the guru was a pretender, that he actually had no spiritual potency, and Krishna made it very clear to the world. So we had to say, we read in those verses the other day that you don't get the reaction for sinful acts that you think about, only if you actually commit them, but you do get a good reaction if you think of pious things, spiritual things, I should say. But careful what you think, right? Because it comes out in action. And so this guru, his false ego was so strong that he ended up plotting a sinful act just to save his false ego. So we have to even still be careful what we think, what kind of mentality we cultivate towards other Vaishnavas, towards other people. And because Krishna knows everything, even if you don't say it out loud, Krishna knows what you're thinking. So, and not to beat ourselves up if we have bad thoughts, we just have to process them properly and not indulge in them. We don't want to indulge in offensive thoughts towards other devotees. Though those thoughts may come to our mind, we can go to other mentors and have them help us process those thoughts, or read Bhagavatham and try to get some clarity, or Bhagavad Gita, and just think about, I'm having these thoughts. What can I do to work through them? Why do I think this way? What can I think that's good about this other person, rather than focusing on what's bad? And then our thoughts won't get carried away to the point where we act in an inappropriate manner. Okay, sorry, it's a little late. I'll end there. Does anyone have any points or questions or comments? I think someone might have written the word in the chat. Huh? Oh, the four sampradayas. Yeah. Okay. Anyone have any points, thoughts, questions, comments? Oh, thank you. Hey, Manga Hari Prabhu. Do you guys have any points or questions? Okay, if not, we'll end here. And it's easy to find this article in Back to Godhead about Ramanujacharya if you guys want to finish reading the story. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Ramanujacharya Prabhu ki jai.